Hello friends, welcome to C# Intermediate to Advanced tutorial. In this video we will implement UI thread update from a background thread. So these are all the slide decks from previous two parts. So here we use system threading namespace and system diagnostics. So this is the list box we want to update, and this list box stays on the main UI thread. So in the btn gen number click, we make a call to task. So we already did that when we learned about the thread. So here is the method called task. We will come back to this later, and here if you see, when user clicks say hi, we'll just show a message box stating hi from UI thread. Then when user clicks the clear button, which is in the bottom, not shown here, we will clear the items from our list box. That means it will empty the content here. Next we have a function called update list box, which takes a string, and if you see whatever string we receive, we add it to our list box using items.add. Right. Also here we set top index as total number of count minus 4. That means we will automatically scroll this list box whenever a new item is added. So that's what this UI update function will do. Top index will set what is the item that should be shown here. So this is the top index, and index, if you see, we will take the total number of items. So if total number of item is 10 minus 4, 6, and we will set index number 6 as the top item. So this will allow automatically scrolling the list box whenever this box get populated. So this will be our UI update function, and we will invoke this from our thread using the delegates. Alright, we will come back to this later. Let's call this as a UI update function, or we can simply call it as number 1. Alright, so next if you see btn gen none is still not corrected this button name, btn gen numbers threaded click. So that means click event for this specific button. Here thread start. This is the delegate, and to this delegate we pass our function signature task. So all this stuff we learned in the previous sub-series, and these stuffs are part of a prerequisite. So here we are creating a delegate for our task function. Then we create a thread T1 for this threaded task. That means we create thread T1 for this task. Alright, so we still use a debug output. That's why we are using system.diagnostics. Here we are stating UI thread click starts child. UI thread click means here you clicked they generate numbers. So we print a message, then we will start the thread. After that, once the thread ends, after starting the thread, we print one more message stating UI thread click ends. So since it is starting the thread, now we will come here and we will start executing the task. So from this task, we want to make a call to this update function. For that, we declare a delegate, public delegate void. The delegate name is list box update delegate. So this is the name we are giving for our delegate, and the access is public so that it can be accessed from our task. And if you see, the parameter type is a string data, return type is void, and these two are important. That means a delegate can point to any function which takes a string parameter and returns void. And if you see here, update list box, which takes string parameter and returns void. That means this delegate can point to this function. Now let's go back to the task. Here in the task, if you see frm busy list box update delegate, since it's public, the thread is directly accessing this, and it is creating instance of delegate. So delegate list box update, that's what we are naming it. Here we are using the new keyword, and when we are creating it, we are passing the update list box, and the update list box is available here. So that means here we specify the function which is in the UI thread, and we create a delegate for it. Delegate, we already declared it. Next, if you see, we are starting the task, then this dot invoke. So this is the way you can call the UI function. This dot invoke is the method which we can use to make a call to the UI function. So this dot invoke, and here if you see, we are making use of delegate LB update, delegate LB update. So we are telling which UI function we want to call, then we are passing the parameter. Here if you see, I am creating a new object array. You can even pass multiple parameter here, that's why I am creating a array new object. Then since it expects a string, we are forming that string, starting the task. So ultimately this will make a call to the function which is exposed by the UI, and it is passing the parameter starting the task. So what happens when it comes here, it adds that specific item to the list box, right? So that means wherever you want to provide an update to the UI, you can use this notation to call the specific UI update function. So using this technique, you can call a number of UI update function. So here I am updating the list box, and if there are some other text boxes, you can update that as well. Or you can use a single update function, and when you are forming the parameter here, you can create a separate class instance or a structure and populate all the member. So that's what called data, right? So you can pack the data and send to the UI update. Alright, here since the list box expects only string, I formed that string and passed that. Next, here the actual task comes into picture. Here we are generating the random number like we did previously. Previously we generated 16,000 random number when we explored the thread start. So in the prerequisite video, this is how we coded. We generated 16,000 random number. but this time we are generating only 10 random number and we have some sleep. Here our goal is to see how the thread is updating the UI. So we minimize the random number generation. Of course, this function take 10 seconds. All right, now inside the loop, if you see, we are forming the string data count I+1, count 1 number, and here we are invoking the random number generation function. So the generated random number between 0 to 16,000. All right, once we have the data, once again we are making call to this UI update routine. This .invoke delegate.lb update new object. Here we are directly passing the string data. So after generating all 10 random numbers, here we state task ends, and we are updating that as well. So that's all. Here these are all the piece of code which is updating the UI through Delegate. All right, now we will go to the demo and see how it works. So first we will specify the required namespace. Now we will go here. So the task function is not yet created, and when we click the generate numbers, btn gen numbers, that time we will make a call to task. So we will write a function for a task. So this will be the threaded task. We will write that shortly after adding some other piece of code. Here we will simply show the message box. So in the clear button handler, we will clear the list box item. So as already explained in the code, this is our UI update function, update list box, which takes string data, and if you see to our list box item collection, we are making call to add method and passing the incoming parameter. So this will update this list box with string data passed as a parameter. Now we already have the handler. We will start the thread and we will keep it below the snippet 6. So starting a thread, we already learned in the prerequisite. If you see here, we are using the thread start delegate, and we pass the function name task. Here it is, and in snippet 2 or in btn gen numbers click, we are calling the task as a in the UI thread context, and here we are actually creating a thread T1, then we are starting it. That means this time we are executing this task in a separate thread. So since this goes as a separate thread, when you click this button, you cannot directly update the UI. But here, when you click the generate numbers, at that time you can update the UI. But in the thread context, you cannot directly access. That's why we are going to use the delegate technique. Okay, now we will declare a delegate. So we declared a public member as a delegate. That means it should go inside the form. So the delegate name is listbox update delegate. So in the task, we will make use of the delegate. So we just added this piece of code in the task method, and if you see, we are making use of our listbox delegate. from busy is the class. From class we are accessing the public member, then we are creating an instance of our delegate, and we are passing the update list box. So now we get hold of the function that updates the UI, right? That's all. Then using this delegate LB update, we can update the list box. Here we are printing starting the task in the debug output window here. Then here, if you see, we are invoking the delegate. This dot invoke, passing the delegate. That means I am accessing the function which is in the main thread. Then I am passing the parameter. Here I am passing the literal, string literal, and inside the for loop I am forming the data. Then I am passing that. Alright, now we will test this. So when we call task on the main thread, we don't need to use the delegate and all, so we can simply make a call to task here, and we will slightly modify this. Here we don't need any delegate. So if you see, since task A runs on main thread context, we can directly invoke the list box. here also. As well as on this last line. That's all. Now we will rebuild the solution and we'll run it. So starting the task, and it updated the UI. Now let me clear the list box, and this time we will run generate numbers the threaded way. So it is generating as well as updating. In between I can invoke the say hi also. Let me do this once again. So both are working, right? So this is the way you can update the user interface element in the main thread. So here we used the delegate technique and we updated it. Let me clear this output window and we will watch the output window also. Generate numbers, and you can see starting the task. Task ended. So here if you see UI thread click starts child thread and it immediately ends. That means here our UI is free, so it started the thread, then it immediately came to the next line, right? End the task. Then the thread was busy updating the list box, and finally the thread also exited. I mean, here we are seeing it, right? So just now you saw the demo, and in the demo the threaded task which generates the random number packed the string data, which is nothing but the generated random number, and passed that string to a UI update function via the delegate as well as the invoke method. That's all here in this video. Thank you for watching. Bye.